Mommy, Will I Ever Be Happy Again? Part 1. Daddy isn't coming home tonight. Mommy says he was in an accident. I had an accident in my wagon. It hurt me some, but now I don't think too much about it. Bobby is crying. I wonder about that. Bobby doesn't cry. He told me once that boys don't cry like girls do. Silly him. There he is crying, and I'm just sitting here watching. Mommy is crying too, but she's not really crying that much. I think she's trying to keep Bobby from crying more. One time she cried when I fell down and hurt my wrist, but she wasn't hurt at all. Her wrists look fine to me. Now the stupid phone is ringing again. Mommy lets it ring. Finally it stops. I know there's a message there because Mommy goes to checks. It's probably a wrong number, or one of those scammies that Daddy hates. One time I heard him say a bad word when he answered the phone. A lot of times the phone isn't nice. I wonder why we have it. The television isn't nice either because Mommy won't let me watch it. And Daddy doesn't even like his computer. He said a bad word last week when it wasn't working. I asked him to come and play with me, but he didn't. He just wanted to get mad at his computer. I thought the computer was probably really upset, because I was. Mommy finally listens to the phone message. I can't tell what it says, but now she's crying again. Now everybody is crying except me. I think that isn't fair. I start crying too. Finally, Mommy sees me crying. She opens up her arms and I run over to her. I just want her to hug me. I don't know why I'm crying. She asks me, but I don't have an answer. I feel funny in my throat. It feels like somebody put a rubber ball there. Daddy said once that I must have a frog in my throat. Daddy's funny that way. I said, I don't have a frog there. Who would ever put a frog in their throat? Daddy laughed. I wish he was here. Mostly when he's around, everybody laughs. Now all everybody wants to do is cry. Sometimes I don't think about Daddy, but mostly I do. I love my Daddy, but Mommy says he's never coming back to see us. I think she must be trying to fool me. I know Daddy would always want to see me. He told me so many times he'd always love me. He said he'd always be there when I fell down or hurt myself or was just sad. I'm really sad now, so I'm sure he'll soon be here. But it seems so long since I've seen him. I want to hug him. I want him to hug me like he always does. Even Bobby said he wants Daddy to hug him, but Bobby is so big. I remember him getting mad at Daddy for putting his arm around him one time. Dumb Bobby. He never knows what he wants. Now Mommy says I'm a big girl. She says I'm old enough to understand. Understand seems like a silly word. I'm not under any stand. Daddy will be under the ground, she says. I'd like to be with him and not under some stupid stand all by myself. I'm so confused. I feel so sad. Mommy, will I ever be happy again? Part 2. I don't know why I'm here, but Mommy says it will help me laugh again. I see the other people. Some of them are big like Mommy, but there are smaller people here too, like me. One of the other girls smiles at me. I try to smile back, but my smile isn't working very well. I think I smiled, but she's already gone to talk to somebody else. I feel so lonely. The big people are all talking around me, but nobody is saying anything to me. Even Bobby is talking like the big people. Silly Bobby. He thinks he can be big just by talking. But I saw him crying with Mommy this morning before we got ready to come here. He asked Mommy a bad question. It must have been bad because she didn't even answer him. Then she just said that Daddy is gone and he isn't coming back. People keep saying that, and they keep saying they're sorry. I wonder what they're sorry for. Did they take my daddy away from me? It just makes me sad. Mommy said coming here would help me laugh. I start to cry again. When I cry, everybody else cries too, even more than they were already. Then I hear a familiar voice. It's my grandpa. I'm sure it is. It must be him. I feel a smile come to my mouth, just a little one. Grandpa always smiles when he sees me. I jump up and run to him. He sees me. He has a big smile on his face and he's got his arms wide open. He lifts me up in his arms and he gives me a big hug. I never want him to stop hugging me, and he doesn't. Grandpa tells Mommy that he wants to take me for a little walk. Mommy just nods. All the people are looking at us with sad faces. I look at Grandpa, but he doesn't look sad at all. I can see his blue eyes, and he has no tears in them. He carries me outside. I like being in his arms, but as soon as we're outside, he puts me down. When we talk, Grandpa always gets down on one knee so I don't have to look up at him. Grandpa tells me there's been a really bad accident and my daddy was in it. Grandpa tells me that my daddy was killed in the accident. Then he says he's really going to miss Daddy, but neither of us is ever going to see him again. He says all the people in the room where we were are just sad, like he is, because of the accident. I feel like crying again. Grandpa hugs me and says it's okay for me to cry, so I do. I cry for a long time. Grandpa just holds me tight. He doesn't say anything. He just holds me and hugs me, and I feel so safe with him. Finally, I'm cried out. Mommy says that always happens. She says you can only cry for so long, even if you are really hurt. She says you just get tired of crying after a while. Grandpa gets up. I take his hand. It feels warm, but it's not as smooth as my hand. I notice this every time I hold his hand. I told Bobby about Grandpa's hand one time. He didn't seem very interested. He just kept playing his dumb video game. Grandpa takes me for a walk to the back of the yard. I see a nice red bird on the fence. It's a beautiful bird, and Grandpa tells me it's a cardinal. I say I've never seen one before. Soon we are looking at flowers and leaves. Grandpa says one of the trees looks like a great big green mushroom. Grandpa's always saying funny things like that. I laugh when he says it. We look at other things around the yard. He shows me some rhubarb growing beside the fence. He says it grows so fast you can see it grow if you look closely. I look really close, but I can't see it grow. Maybe Grandpa can see better than me. We sit down on a bed. I say I'm tired. Grandpa pulls me up on his lap. I lean my head against him. It seems funny when I wake up. I'm still on Grandpa's lap. He still has his arm around me. I feel warm and safe. Grandpa says we should go back and join the others. He says we need to be there because Daddy would want us to be. I just nod. I hug Grandpa one more time. He hugs me back and smiles at me. He says we have to go back in so we can help Mommy and Bobby. We walk back together. I'm not crying anymore. I feel a little bit happy.